Good evening to the chairperson of the Select Committee, and good evening to the Honourable Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, and to Minister and the Deputy Ministers, and to all the Portfolio Committee members that are present. Thank you for the opportunity to actually conduct the presentation. If I could please then ask if the Secretariat could flight the presentation for us. If they could share it, please. Thank you. If we can put it into space. Okay, so we are here from the department to actually present on the revised or the special adjustment allocations for the department. If we could then also, during this process, go through our strategic areas of focus and some of the changes that we've also had to our strategic plan, and just looking at our revised annual performance plan together with our 2020 special adjustment budgets. If we could move to the next slide. So the first area we'll focus on is the addendum to the revised DCOG 2020-2021 annual performance plan, and then of course the 2020 special adjustment budgets. So the department has revised its 2020-2025 strategic plan, which still has six key outcomes. We've also then revised our 2021 APP to make provision to our COVID-19 response, and the adjusted budget to actually cater for those targets that are likely not to be achieved in our first quarter of the financial year, with the carryover implications for the subsequent quarters of this year. The department has also responded to the government strategy on gender-based violence, and these initiatives will be cascaded down to support the municipalities through our district development model. So due to the number of indicators that had already been added to our initial projects, some of them we've also had to then just reassign to our operational plans. We could move to the next slide. So this is a summary of all our indicators that we have per program. We have 6 programs in the department, and of those 6 programs, we have 33 of those, and of course the percentages that actually make up each of those programs. And you can see that the greatest percentage is within administration, followed by institutional development. We could move to the next slide, please. So just to recap on the DCOG strategic plan outcomes, I won't go through each one in its detail, but really just at a high level to indicate that we need to ensure that our cooperative governance systems do drive the implementation of the DDM, that we have intergovernment relations through DDM that are effective, and that our integrated planning and service delivery are important in terms of one of our outcomes, and just also an improved municipal financial viability, and having sustained good municipal governance, and then just an improved disaster management system. If we can move to the next slide, please. And maybe just to mention that these are all still relevant for the next 5-year medium-term plan. So the main areas of focus and the changes that we've made to the APP are the COVID-19 response to support municipalities through our reprioritization of municipal grants and the disaster management response. Also just the disaster management grant funding review to ensure that the disaster grants are more responsive. Just also with regards to COVID-19 and post-COVID-19 economic recovery for local government, which has been aligned to the DDM and the One plans, and to support the municipalities in preparation for the 2021 local government elections, to ensure that we've established our CWP cooperatives through the agrarian reform, and just on our expenditure on internal COVID-19 response. And then the other area is also the development of our funding model for local government, and then just championing of the National Responsible Citizenry campaign. That's to be done to municipalities to improve culture. So the revised DCOG APP is as follows. If we could move to the next slide. Okay, so the first one under Program 1 in Administration was Indicator 1.6 that references the automation of the 4 business processes, and the rationale for us making the change here was to actually provide continuation of operations through our ICT during the lockdown. So we had to enhance our MS Teams and our Microsoft 365 IT. Sorry about that. Then on the next indicator, which is 1.7, we had to look at the percentage that we spend on the COVID-19 business continuity plan, and we had to ensure that we have the appropriate resources allocated to mitigate against our COVID-19 infections. So some continued indicators here are indicator 1.1 around the qualified audit outcome for 2019 and 2020. And then the indicator 1.2, where we had to look at the 100% of suppliers needed to be paid within 30 days. And 1.3, where we had to look at our percentage alignment of SMS performance agreements to annual targets. And 1.4, the improvement of the organizational performance from 83% to 85%. And 1.5, 100% alignment of the organizational structure to strategy. So the projects here are still relevant, and we will be implementing these with the purpose of actually improving our internal resources and making sure that we utilize these more appropriately, so we can also improve the culture of the individuals and the organizational performance, specifically around our audit outcomes. On the next program, the Regional and Urban Development and Legislative Support, there were a few indicators, and in some of these indicators we had to obviously review them, and we've got the rationale as to why we believe these should be either remain or be completely reviewed. So indicator 2.5 on the Economic Recovery Plan for the 52 districts and sites. So despite it being part of our One Plan initiative, it is also was also critical for us to actually elevate it to the APP level to respond to the local economic crisis now post COVID-19. On the other indicators under 1, 2, 3, and 4, we've had to revise our UDF implementation plan, which has now also concluded and will be processed through cabinet, and the new targets will be included from Q2 onwards. And to also further support our response to curb gender violence and femicide, we've also then made sure, that we also include some new targets into this one as per the request that had arrived from the Department of Gender and so on. If we can then move to the next slide. Could we please move to the next slide? Under Program 3, there were quite a few indicators here that we also reviewed, specifically indicators 3.1, 3.3, and 3.5 and 3.6. Here, really, we were to ensure that government is well prepared within this new normal, which is in terms of the COVID-19 pandemic, specifically around the local government elections. And then just under the umbrella of rethinking municipal finance, we plan to work with the National Treasury to actually stabilize our municipal finances from a revenue and from an expenditure perspective. And then just with regards to 3.5, we also want to build financially viable municipalities and to contribute towards an improved audit outcome. And then just on 3.6, we also thought that we would like to promote and encourage the culture of payment for services under the theme Reigniting the Culture of Active and Responsive Citizenry. So under the indicator 3.2, the draft integrated local government capacity building strategy, and under 3.7, just looking at the smart cities framework. These also still remain relevant and does not require any changes. And then just with regards to 3.4, the report on the implementation of actions to address issues raised by the AG. The rationale here is that we continue to report with the indicator taking into account our operational plan, and then also just making sure that the governance structures